Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. So some of you requested that I do a Stage 6 effects video with the GR Supra. It's a little bit difficult because this is elite tuner car that will change substantially as you upgrade it to higher elite levels. But we can at least get an idea of how the impacts are and maybe give you a good idea of how much help those individual stage 6s ultimately may be based on how they help right now with the only stage 5 elite upgrade. Let's first take a look at stage 5 only. I'm going to go ahead and put it to the max dyno, and we can see what the most effective numbers are. Now, highest evo point usually means the most performance you can squeeze out of it. So 1401, 10.062, I may be able to get a little more out of this, 10.061. So that will be the baseline we will work off of for all stage 6s. Understand that as you get more elite level upgrades, you're getting more fusion slots. That means the performance will change. That applies even to the stage 6s in many cases. So this is just a basic comparison between current upgrade versus the stage 5 with current upgrade. That gives you an idea which stage 6s are the strongest. Anytime you see a little bit of increased jump in the evo, that's a good sign, although that's not a huge jump, so it's not going to be a huge amount of change. But at least we're looking at 9.905, and then we can see if you can get additional points out of it. If you can go to like 1432, 33, those are the little touches that'll make the difference in the end. So 1431, it looks like. That puts you at a 9.903. With engine, that's a decent drop, but not really that much if you think about it. So that's about a little over a tenth and a half drop from the 10.061. Let's move right on to the next one, which is turbo. Generally speaking, turbo is not a strong stage 6, and the numbers are not promising at this point. Let's see if tuning will help much. But when the evo goes down and the performance point goes up, you're still going to get a little better time, but it's not really all that optimal. What it's saying is it's better, but it's not super good. 9.946. See if I saw an 86 there, but that's probably going to be it. 9.945 from a 10.061. So again, a bit of a drop, about a tenth, little over a tenth, but not great. So turbo, not very strong. Onward to intake. Same thing, a little jump there. And not a whole lot looking on the evo side. That's never a good sign. That means intake is definitely not very strong. And again, if you notice, I haven't really been tweaking these two because it doesn't really help you to change this too much. Basically, anything you do lowers evo, so you're really only playing with the final drive with this car. That's good and bad, because the good news here is that tuning's much easier. The bad news is, of course, you're not going to squeeze a whole lot out of this car from just moving around the final drive. 10.04 from a 10.061 is not a huge drop, but I think we're kind of making our way through the really bad ones. If you have this situation where most of the ones right here doesn't do much, that means the remaining 4 is going to have some strong ones when we get to them. So let's take a look at nitrous. That looks good. That does not look good. So nitrous is not looking promising. That's kind of sad. I was hoping nitrous would do more. But let's take a look. With nitrous, of course, the question is whether retuning would really be beneficial. But again, shortest duration seems to be the way to go. But you should be able to tune it for a little more points. And not really. And what you end up with is a 9.941. That's only marginally better, I think, than engine or turbo. So that's not really that great. And we're not able to really get really good numbers out of this. So that's not so good. Okay, so 9.941 is what I saw earlier. And I'm just going to put it right back to that one more time. So we can utilize that as the final number. Wait, I have a little bit here, 9.941. Okay, so that is nitrous. Now you have 4 stage 6s. All of them are weak, right? None of these have really bumped the time much. That means something big has to be coming up. Otherwise, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and put body in. That's good. Ah, Evo jump. That's what we're looking for. Now, with both the performance point and the Evo jumping as much as it did, this stage 6 obviously is stronger than the rest so far. But just how strong is it? Let's tune it before we dyno it. Again, margin of changes is very small, so it's not extremely tunable. But you just drop from a 10.061 to a 9.694. So that at least is pretty good. Not only that, again, this car beats dyno. In fact, I'll run it once with this one because it's a strong stage 6. And let's see if we can hit 9.4 something or 9.5 at least. All right, so I'm going to use the jump to 4th and nitrous method for this car for now. Letting 3 run through and then 4th and nitrous may also be good. You can try to play with that, but I'm just trying to get a basic idea. 9.539. So that's a pretty decent drop even from the dyno. And that is, again, the fastest and most useful stage 6 so far. That's body. Okay, let's go to the next one, which brings us to tire and then ultimately to transmission. Now, tire has a few fusions in here, and there's one more when you get the final upgrade levels that opens up that slot. But let's take a look. That's a decent jump on both sides. Not as much as body, but I think tire won't be terribly weak. Should I move this? Nope, leave it. So really, we're still playing just with final drive to try to get the best numbers possible. 9.860, so it beats engine and the others, but it's a ways off from body. But ultimately, tire and body so far seems to be 2 of the best. And that leaves only transmission. Now, transmission either is going to be good or it's just going to be meh. Because I don't see that there's going to be a huge amount of jump. Oh my God. Did you see those numbers jump? This is very promising. Very promising. Maybe. Oh, yes. It definitely trumped body. Look at that. So, transmission turned out to be the big boy after all. I didn't expect this. I was thinking as much as body did, that must have been the big boy. But look at this. Transmission, 9.616. If I can get it right there. Oh, I'm still off. There it is. Let's run this, because if I run under a 9.53, then I've definitely beat body. But with with shifting, we don't know if it will. In order to keep it somewhat consistent, I'm going to use the same shift pattern rather than changing the shift pattern. This way we know it's performing essentially off of the same strategy and pattern and not relying on different patterns to adjust the time. That looks like a 9.3 or 9.4 run. That's going to be good. Oh, 9.408 from 9.616. So that's definitely a 2/10 drop. So transmission all around good for stage 6 effects, good for dropping the times. Not a huge amount of performance point gain compared to some of the others. So transmission, look at that. Trans came out on top, body second, tire third, and then it works something like engine nitrous turbo intake. But maybe it's nitrous engine turbo intake. I'll have to take a look at it again. So let's now go ahead and do our standard combination stuff, which is I'm going to put the 3 top ones in. And that puts us at 707. And over 1600. This is before you get extra fusions. Once you get those, you can be over 1700 or possibly even 1800, depending on how much those fusions add. 9.078. Oh, hello. I think we got a Harkness beater here. Okay. Is it cutting it still kind of close? Yes. I mean, I'm not totally comfortable with those numbers, but remember, this car beats Dyno by about 2/10. If it stays consistent to that here, we should be able to take down Harkness or make this car ultimately your elite T5 car for live racing. Either one. Although without more upgrades, I think using it to take down Harkness is more likely for most players than the other way around. Okay, same deal. I didn't shift great there, so hopefully I will still have a great run, but let's see what we get. $8.927, still kind of cutting it kind of close, but remember, if you get to like elite level 10 or even higher, and you get some more fusions and the slots for it, you'll be in the 8.6s, 8.5s pretty quick. So this is definitely going to be Harkness. 0 to 100, notice that 0 to 100 is pretty good. The dyno says 2.1, but when I ran, I did like a 2.0. Now, even if you don't have these specific 3 stage 6s, one thing to keep in mind is that this car actually is pretty good at both sprinting and running top end. So you won't have a problem even at stage 5 without stars, full fusion to do the sprints and the 260 mile per hour. The main thing of getting parts for either elite upgrade, either elite upgrade or doing the additional stage 6s, the whole point is to get to the point where you can take out Harkness with the car. Now, knowing the 3 does so much and knowing how little these individually affected the effects of the car, I think we can pretty much let's see, yep, these 3 are the top, so we got the other 4. Look at the Evo drop. It just doesn't look nearly as good. You have a lot of performance points, but you have very low Evo points, and it's only a 9.6 compared to what we did against Harkness, which was a 9.0, 8.9 kind of setup. Here you're only looking at 9.613. Even if you beat it by 2/10, you're far off from beating Harkness. Now, this obviously all this dynamic changes when you go with full elite. But let's go ahead and put it to full stage 6, no star, 3 extra fusions, and see exactly where this car ends up. Now, full stage 6, even without stars, without any additional elite, I'm pretty comfortable that you will easily beat Tempest 3 with this car. But again, with the elite, it's a 6.9 car. So with the elite, it's a whole different car. It's a whole different animal. Since you're going to want to get through the final event anyway, it doesn't hurt you to go ahead and get the car more elite upgraded, get it faster, and use it for Tempest. So again, 8.606, very easy to beat the 0 to 100 times and the 0 to and Harkness's time. But if you have the performance limits, the PP limits for Tempest, you may go, well, Max, is it going to make it for those really limited level upgrade stuff? Well, let's see. So Tempest 5's lowest limits is 685, okay? But you only need to do 220 mile per hour, and you only need a 3.562 0 to 100. So is it really that hard to pull that off? Well, you know, let's get the car to 685 first, and we'll just do a quick test of that. Okay, so that's 684. What I did is I put trans back to 4, body 0, 5, 5, 5, 5, 6. that's not necessarily the optimal setup. I just did it real quick to get to that 685. That is because I'm pretty confident that I won't have a problem hitting any target numbers, because it'll still do 321 miles per hour like this. Okay, in fact, that's pretty high. Much higher than the 220 you need. 10.7 time is not too bad. I think that's enough for the job. But the real thing here is going to be that 3.5, 0 to 100. You're already looking at 3.3. Now, let me show you why this car is good for sprints. By doing this, that suffers. But look at that. It just dropped from a 3.3 to a 2.2. Okay, and you can further beat that when you actually run the car. So you can get a really, really fast sprint out of this car very easily. So it has no problem sprinting, super high top speed real easily, as long as you use engine turbo and intake stages for meeting the performance point. And really, there's nothing to complain about. I mean, this car it's good at all that. And it'll do the job real easily. Now, I topped out in 6 because that's when you hit 100 mile per hour. And I kind of screwed up and stayed in 5th a little bit, but we'll look at the time. 2.157, okay? And the dyno is a 2.2, so you can beat dyno on this sprint very easily. Now, in addition, the car really is pretty good in live racing. Most of you already got that figured out because I've seen a ton of these things in live. Any car that basically beats dyno by 2/10 is going to make a decent live racer. The main thing for this car is that it doesn't have low performance point high evo until you get some elite upgrades, but by then you probably also have higher performance points. So you should lobby dyno lobby it to the edge, not necessarily the faster edge, but like middle fast area of a lobby. So 10.597 isn't an optimal position to be in. I would rather either put this car at 10.7 or 10.6. 10.597 actually, it's not terrible, but you may run into 10.4, 10.3 cars, which makes it so you're always pushing your car, and that's not going to be optimal for you. But let's go ahead and take it into live before we finish the video here, just to kind of see if that particular lobby point is okay for this car at this level of upgrades. Elite upgrade only helps it because what you're doing with a lot of the elite upgrade is adding fusion slots without adding performance points. It'll make your car more competitive in lobby, make it a lot faster. So definitely elite this car as you can. And ultimately, it's one of the fastest cars in the game once fully elite. And that's like rank 35, not even rank 50 like the McLaren F1. So, all right, let's see how we can do here. So you want to launch 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I slow down slightly. And I should run right around dyno and still won that. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. I had to run about 10th under. So again, that's not optimal. If I have to do this all the time, it's not going to be as good. Maybe I should try to tweak the settings to get maybe a 10.5 dyno or maybe a 10.7 like I was saying earlier. So again, it wins in live pretty good. That 2/10 is basically the margin you're playing with to help yourself to the wins. And you can handle most of the cars in the lobby unless they're just set up better or they have really high evo compared to what you have at a much lower performance point. Those cars are going to end up destroying you. Something like this will be very difficult to fight against without really pushing it. But again, it depends on how well that car is fusioned out and how well your car is fusioned out in comparison. Toyota Epic Fusions are hard to get, but the green and blue are not that bad. So this time I'm going to go right to 4th and do that way, and just to see if this will run better. Again, it's kind of a pushing it. Oh, shouldn't have slowed down too much. I lost that. Double downshifted. Should have only done one. Oh, okay. So he didn't run that quick, surprisingly. So anyway, competitive. Okay. Okay. So enough talk at this point. I think we've hit all the points we needed to hit. Final conclusion. Let's wrap it up real quick. I'm going to give you my ultimate evaluation on this car. for most new players, this is the tier 5 to have because it's free. You can't beat a free tier 5 that can also get stars, even though it starts off with no stars. Okay, and it gets those stars pretty quick. So definitely start building it. Save your tokens. You elite this car up. You're going to need it for the event anyway. It is a good Tempest car. Once you get it, you elite it up a little bit or a lot, or you get those stage 6s. As long as they're crates, stage 6s are accessible. Although I haven't had a whole lot of good luck with these crates, I'll be honest with you, but if you have enough bronze keys, you can fully upgrade the stage 6s on this car and get the fusions. And once you elite it, it'll be a very quick car that's in your arsenal. It's a great sprinter with 5.0 final drive, 0-100 tire, and minimum nitrous. It's a great top speed car all around, so you really don't have problem hitting speed traps either, just setting it to normal standard settings. So in my opinion, this is a great car all around for Tempest. Great car all around for your map stuff because it beats Dino. And finally, it is also pretty decent, if not good. I would say good in live. Not exceptional, but definitely good in live. So that's my final evaluation of this car. For almost every new player in the game, this is a godsend. Be glad that Natural Motion decided to give this to you for free, because I would have probably spent gold keys in the past to try to get my hands on something like this. Anyway, tokens, you can get them from Showdown, you can get them from the event, you can get them from other places, but you're going to have to do some work to earn them. Eliting a car is a long-term process. Be patient, unless you want to just spend money, in which case you could be impatient. You'd just be poor. Okay? All right. Any questions, feel free to ask me. If you like my video, please leave a like and tell your friends so that the video itself becomes more easily searchable under YouTube's search engine. If you like my channel, please subscribe so you can get notifications when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.